And welcome to today's webinar where we're going to be going back to basics again. And this time we're looking at recording customer receipts and payments on account within Sage 50 accounts. My name's Laura and I'm a learning facilitator here at Sage, and I'm going to be hosting the webinar today. But we've also got Abby on hand in the background to answer any questions that you may have around today's topic. So today we're going to be looking at the difference between sales receipts and sale on account transactions and when you would use each one as well. In the demonstration, we're going to be looking at how to create and process the sale receipts and the sale on account transactions. So we can just have a look and get a visual on those as well. Then we'll have a look at further support and have a look at the resources available on the Help Centre there too. Customer receipts allow you to quickly and accurately record payments received from your customers. Basically, it just helps to keep your customer balances and outstanding invoices up to date. If a customer makes a payment before an invoice has been raised, you can record this as a sale on account. And this is commonly used for things like deposits or advance payments or situations where you need to record the money received before knowing exactly which invoice it relates to. Within Sage 50 accounts, receipts are displayed with the transaction type SR, just stands for sales receipt, while payments recorded on account are shown as SA, so sale on account, just making them easy to identify. Once entered, both receipts and sales on account can be allocated to outstanding invoices, and this helps to just reduce or clear customer balances, maintains accurate records, and just assures payments that they're all sorted correctly on there, matched to the relevant transactions, so nothing's left unallocated. I'll pop into my system and we can have a look at a bit of a demonstration there. So I'm just going to pop my Sage on your screen so you should be able to see that now. We'll first just have a look at where you can raise a customer receipt from. So the first place we can have a look, we pop into customers along the top here. If I just highlight one, because you can see a lot of them are grayed out at the moment until I actually highlight one and then they come into play so you can see them now. So you've got our customer receipt option at the top here. Now, if you can't see that along the top, it may just be that you've hidden it for whatever reason. If you right click, you can actually hide things on here. So the things that you don't really use, so if I just click on customer receipt, it just removes it from my toolbar. So it just declutters it for you. So if you've got items along the top, you think, oh, well, I never use that. You can right click and you can just hide it. If you want it back, just right click again and you can either click on it or you can use defaults, which will just bring everything back for you. And there's my customer receipt just at the top. You've also got the same option. We just pop into bank accounts, the left-hand side. You've also got the customer receipt option in bank accounts as well. Exactly the same window. You've just got the option in two areas there. And I'm going to pop into customers. I'm just going to click on customer receipt and we can have a look at the window. So when we first open it, we've got some options along here. We can select our customer from the drop-down box. Now, if you've got lists of customers in here, you can type in a customer name on here if you know the account reference, or you can scroll up and down. I've only got a few customers to choose from, so I'm just going to select my first customer, and it brings up the details. When you select your customer, it's going to list any transactions that are outstanding for that particular customer. So I've got a couple of sales invoices here, and I've also got a sales credit as well there. So it's picked up my default bank account in here. Now, if I want to change that, we can either type in there or we've got a drop down box and we can just select our bank account just by clicking on it and it'll pop it in there for us. It'll give us our account name and it gives us the balance of that account as well. I'm just going to pop it back to the default, which is my current account. And it gives me my balance there as well. It also gives me the name of my customer once I've chosen it under the customer details, and it gives me their balance as well, so I can easily see what the balance of their account is too. It will pick up the date as well, so it's going to pick up your date or today's date by default, I should say. Now, the only reason that it wouldn't do this is if you haven't closed out of Sage. So maybe if you just lock your PC on the evening, you don't log out of it, it'll still be showing it as yesterday's date on there, but it's just picking up today's date for me. I can change that if I want to. I can either free type in here. I can click on the little calendar icon and I can choose my date from in there as well if I want to. But if you do need to change the date, you can either change the date in Sage if you've left it open. You can either close out, just restart it, or you can change the date in settings as well. So if you do leave it open, it is best to close out of it on an evening there, just so it resets. We've then got the receipt details. So obviously we've got the date there. We can pop in a reference if we want to. So it may be that you've got a check number, maybe that you want to pop initials in there, or a receipt number if you handwrite receipts. And then you've got your extra reference as well, which can be used for anything else, completely optional. You might want to log if the payment was online, perhaps, or if it was in store. We've then got a filter as well down here. So at the moment, I've got it showing everything. If we use the drop-down box, we've got the option to just show what's due. And we've also got the option to show a date range in there as well. So if I pop a date range, you can change that. You can see I've got everything showing from just in today's date. I've got nothing. Go in and start that. If I pop back to maybe it's in June on there, it'll bring up the ones that are now just due in June for me. I change that back to all. I'll show them all again on there. And then we've got this option here for list invoice credit by item line. So if I tick that just to show you, so at the moment I've got 3. If I tick that, you'll see I've now got 4 transactions on here. So if we leave it ticked, what it'll do is it'll list all individual items. So if I've got a couple of grouped transactions, which I have here, these 2 items have been grouped, which means they've got the same customer reference, same date, and the same reference, and it's grouped those transactions for me. Now I can leave it if I wanted to untick that, it'll just leave it grouped for me, gives me that total amount, but I might want to split them out. I might only want to pay off one part of that invoice on there. So you could have several lines on an invoice, but if you've got them grouped, it'll just bunch them all together for you so you can see that one total. If I tick that again, you can see it splits that out. So I've got one line was for £600 and one line was for £240 on there. So it may be that the customer's paid me a certain amount. They've paid this part of the line off in full. So I can either click on pay in full at the top, or I can click F3 on my keyboard. And they might have just paid 300 towards this one. So I can split it out and I can just partially pay them on there, or partially pay one and pay one in full. Just gives it's a bit of an easier way to do it on there if you do use group transactions. It also shows us a running total down here as well. So when I've popped those figures in there, it's added them up and it shows me how much it is for just down at the bottom here. And we've also got it showing in the amount. I'll just clear that for now. Say yes to that. I'm just going to choose my customer again because there's a few other options I want to show you in there. We've also got the automatic option at the top. So for example, if the customer has given me, say £700, and rather than keying it in and trying to work out, which one I want to split that over, I just list them again so we can see them. I might want to put them in a certain order. So I've got one here that's not due until August. So I might not want to pay that one first. So if I click on the column at the top, it'll reorder these for me. Let's pop that one at the bottom, so I can see which ones are due first and I can pay those ones first. So if I type in here and say, right, well, they've given me £700, rather than sitting in trying to work out how much needs to be split over which invoice is due next, I can click automatic and it will split it for me. So obviously the first one is a credit, so it's not going to allocate anything to that one, but it's paid the next one, which is due, which is my sales invoice. It's put £600 on that. And then it realizes I've got £100 left over. It's put £100 onto my next invoice there. And it would just leave the outstanding balance for me. So that's another option, just to use the automatic option rather than trying to calculate and work out which ones you need to spread them over. Clear that again, we'll have a look at the wizard. Go back in, just choose that customer again. Got the wizard option at the top here too. So the wizard, it basically takes you through things step by step. So if I just click on it to show you, we can pay invoices, We can allocate credit notes to invoices as well. So I've got an invoice here, just put that down a little bit there. I've got a credit note there, and I've got an invoice there. So it may be that I want to allocate my credit note to my invoice. It'll walk me through it. I've also got, I can allocate payments on account to invoices, or I can just post a payment on account. So this wizard will take me through it. But if I click on next, just to show you what it looks like. So this is if we're paying the invoices. It's got my customer in here, so I can change the customer if I need to at this point. I'm just going to leave this customer one. It'll pick the date up again. Again, you can change that by typing in there or using the little date box, the little calendar. You can pop your reference in and an extra reference if you want to as well. And then you can pop your amount in. So say I've received £500. I then go pay. It will split that for me. So it's put it onto the most, the one that's due next, which is due on, well, it was due a few days ago there, but it's put it onto there for me. We can click on list the invoices on there beforehand. We should press that beforehand, and it'll spread it out for me across the reference 111 for that transaction. But if I clear that, we'll just have a quick look at the sales credit as well there. So I'm just going to clear that. Go back to customer one. If we'll just list them on there so we can see them. We'll go to the wizard again. And this time, if we have a look at allocating credit notes to invoices, click next. Again, you can change the customer at this point if you want to. And then if we say allocate, and it's allocated that sales credit for me against the sales invoice. So it's paying that off for me. So there's a few different options in here. You can come in and you can manually pay them off. You've got that automatic option. You've got the wizard on there as well. You've got filters that you can use. There's quite a few different things that you can use within this window when you're paying off those invoices. Now there is another place that you can actually pay off invoices as well. So I'm just going to close out of here. Just say no to that. And that is in a batch invoice window. So if I just open that up to show you. So if you're entering an invoice, customer's already paid it perhaps, so you're just catching up on things, you can actually pay the invoice off at the same time. So we've got the amount paid option at the end here. What that will do is it will post the invoice and it will post that sales receipt for you as well. So if we use, we'll just use customer one again on there, a tab across, just going to use today's date. I'm not going to put a reference on. I'll just leave the nominal code the same and say there was an invoice for £50 and that's the gross amount. So if I click on calculate net at the top or F9 on my keyboard, it will work out the net for me and the VAT based on my tax code. And if I tab across and I say, well, customers actually paid me that today. I'm just going to put £50 in there. So they've paid me that today. And you can select your bank account from here as well, and also add in a payment reference if you need to too. I'm going to click save to that, and we'll just show you in the transactions. There's my invoice that it's posted, my SI, and it's posted the sales receipt for me at the same time. So just a quick way of doing it if you're sort of catching up on admin, you're posting that invoice and you know that you've been paid there as well. You can post them both at the same time and it'll post both those transactions. Now you can also record a deposit or a sale on account. So it might be that I want to record that a customer has paid me a deposit before I've actually created an invoice. So you've got nothing to allocate it to. So if we go back into customers, and if I go to customer receipt at the top, and we'll have a look. We'll pick customer number 5. So no, that's got nothing outstanding. So there's nothing in here. I can't pop in or can't pay anything off in here. There's no invoices that are due. But it may be that they've paid me a deposit and I need to pop that on. So if I come into here, say that they've paid me £50, I'm just going to type it into there. I can pop in the reference and say deposit. Pop that on there as well, just so I know what that's for. I can leave the date the same, just check that I've got the right bank account and I've got the right customer. So they paid me a £50 deposit and I'm just going to click save to that. It'll tell me that there's an unallocated payment balance of £50. Do I want to post it as a payment on account? So it's just checking that I'm doing the right thing there. And I'm just going to say, yeah, because they've posted or they've given me that £50 and I want to record that. We have a quick look at the activity by clicking on activity at the top there. We can now see I've got a sale on account, it's a deposit, and it's for £50. And we know it's outstanding, it's showing in the outstanding column, and it's got a little asterisk there, which just means the full amount's outstanding, so it's not allocated to anything. So it may be that now the customer's placed that order and I need to raise an invoice. So I'm going to go to batch invoice. I'm going to raise that invoice for customer number 5. I'll just use the same details. I'm just going to say it's for £150 and that is the gross amount on there. But they haven't paid me anything at the moment. We're just raising that invoice. I'm going to say save to that and close that window. So we have a look at the activity now, and we can either highlight it and click on activity, or you can double click on the customer record as well. That'll bring up the customer record for you, and then you can navigate down the left-hand side to your activity. So now we've got a sale on account and we've got a sales invoice. So we can see they're both still outstanding. So at the moment they've got an invoice of £150, but they've got a sale on account for £50 on there. So we need to allocate that £50 to the £150 invoice so we can reduce it so it looks like the customer just owes us that £100, which at the moment it does show as a balance. That's what they're showing on there, but we need to allocate them. So if we close out of this window and if we go to customer receipt, and I'm going to choose my customer number 5, got my bank account. I can pop a reference in if I want to at this point, but I'm going to say, right, well, this deposit, that's paid in full because I want to allocate that full amount to my invoice. And I'm going to put the same amount on the invoice line. So that £50 I'm allocating to my sales invoice. And we can see the analysis total is 0 because it nets each other out on there. So now I'm going to say save to that. I'm going to close that window. And if we have another look at the activity, just to see what that does, if I just untick this little box that says outstanding only, so we can still see the sale on account. So I've got my sale on account there, no longer outstanding. That's been fully allocated. I've got the amount of my invoice here, which is £150, and the outstanding is now just £100. And we've got a P in this column here, which just shows it's part paid. So it's been partly paid with that sale on account. Now, if the customer then comes and pays me that £100, we can go and record that. So close out of here. If we go back to customer receipt, so they've now paid me that £100. They've paid the balance off. I'm going to choose my customer. We can see there's my outstanding sales invoice there. And at this point, they've paid it off in full. So I can either click F3 on my keyboard. I can key it in if I want to. I've also got the little keypad there. I can just click pay in full at the top there. And then I can just say save to that and close it. So we have one last look at the activity for this customer. Nothing outstanding if I just untick that little box there. So there's my sale on account. We've got the sales invoice and we've got the receipt there as well. And we've got nothing outstanding. It's all been allocated and all been paid for. So that's it's all done there. Now you can also import payments. However, they need to be imported as a sale on account because the system won't know which transactions to allocate them to. But once you've imported them, you can then allocate them. So I've set one up so we can just have a quick look at importing them. There are webinars on importing records and transactions on our recordings page, but I just wanted to show you that you can import them as well. So if I just have a quick look at the activity for customer number 2, I've got a few sales invoices here which are outstanding. You can see they're outstanding in this column and they're fully outstanding. They've got the little asterisks next to them as well there. So I've got a couple of payments that I maybe have from a different system and I just want to import them in. So if I close out of here and I'll show you the import as well. Just open that up and I'll pop it on the screen just so you can see what it looks like. So this is using one of our import templates. And you can use your own templates as well there, but I've got them as a sales invoice. We can see here an SA. I've got my customer reference. I've got the bank account I'm using, the date, and the amounts on there from her as well. So these ones that are highlighted in a bit like a turquoisey colour, those are the mandatory fields, so those need to be completed. And if you hover over it, like you can see there, the little red triangle in the corner, it will give you information on each column too. But I just wanted to show you so you can have a look and see what it looks like there. As I say, there is a full webinar on importing transactions though. So if I close out of that, we'll go and look at importing it in. So if I go to File at the top, go to Import, close that, it just tells us it's going to close all open windows there. You get your little Import Wizard window. So the template that I just showed you, you can find those templates just in here as well. If I click on that just to quickly show you, drag it over from the other screen, you've got a full list of templates to be able to import data in here as well. So whether you're using your own template or ours, either's absolutely fine. What I would say is always just take a backup before you import anything in. It could be that you're 100% certain what you're importing in is correct. Just on the off chance, take a backup first, because if you import the wrong thing in, it's much easier just to restore a backup in than try and sort of reverse everything that you've done there. So you've got that backup option. So I'm going to click Next. It's audit trail transactions that I'm importing in. So I'm just going to select that. Click Next on there. It's an Excel file, as I showed you there as well. I'm just going to browse to that file. Just had it on my desktop. It's this one here. And I'm just going to click Open to that. My first row contains headings. So that was just the row that I showed you where it was either turquoise or yellow along the top. You want to have that ticked if you do have headings, just so it doesn't try to import the headings into your system, which you would just get an error message anyway. I'll click Next. And then you'll get your mapping fields. So mine are completely mapped on there because I'm using one of our import templates. So everything matches the Sage field that's on the template as well. So I don't need to do anything with this because I'm using one of Sage's templates there. And then I'm just going to click Next. It'll give us a bit of a sort of a review on there of what we're importing. And then I'm just going to click Import. And it'll run through two checks at that point. One just to check that the data is okay, and the other just to check that it can write it into Sage. And it tells me there that it's imported in 2 records, which is the 2 that were listed. So if I close out of this, and we'll pop back into customers, and it was customer number 2, I think, she says. Yes, it was customer number 2 there. So we can see now I've still got my sales invoices, but I've also got the 2 sale on accounts now. And as I say, they import them in as a sale on account because they don't know what to allocate it to. So you can import them in, so you might have a few more than just 2 like I have. Then it's just a case of allocating them. So at the moment, we can see the balance of the customer is £60, and that's correct because the only one that we've got outstanding is this one here, because we've got these which we can allocate to one another. So we'll go and do that now. Close out of there. Just by going into customer receipt, choosing my customer, which was customer number 2. And then we've got them where we can allocate them. And allocating them just simply joins them together just so we know where they're supposed to be. So it's showing that the invoice is not outstanding and we don't have a random sale on account there. So I can just press F3 on my keyboard. I'm going to leave this one blank. Customer hasn't paid me the £60 yet for that one. That one needs to remain there. But we've got this invoice has been paid because it's been paid with this sale on account. And this sale on account is going to be allocated to this invoice here. So I'm going to say pay that one in full. And we've got that running total at the bottom here, which tells us that it nets each other off there. So once I click save, and if I go back to that customer now, customer number 2, it will just list what's outstanding. So all I've got left outstanding is that one sales invoice, which was for £60. So yes, you can go through and you can import them in, but it imports them in as a sale on account. So it's just a case of coming in and allocating them after there. Haven't had any questions come through at the moment. Remember, if you do have a question, pop it in there so Abby can have a look at that as well. I'll pop back to the slides there for a moment. So I will keep it open for a few more minutes as well. just to see if anything else comes through. Don't forget you will get a recording of today's session as well in around about an hour's time, just so you can have a look back over it. If you're anything like me, it might be that you just want to pause it and have a look at things in your own system. But if you're ever in doubt, just have a look in the demonstration data, which is really easy to get into. If you're not too sure how something processes, just pop it back on the screen. So I'm in my live data at the moment, but if you go to File, Open, Open Demo Data, just tell us it's going to close all of the open windows. And you may or may not have seen this, but this is just the demonstration data. So everybody's got this, and it's a standalone set of data, completely separate to anybody else's demo data, completely separate to your live data as well. But if you see at the top there, I've now got a company that says Stationery and Computer Mart UK, and it's just a set of data that's just been set up by Sage that you can come and have a look at. So you can see it's different. It's got more customers in than I had before, but it's got everything set up in there, and you can have a play around with it. So if you're not 100% sure on how things work, have a go at the demonstration data there. I've popped on a couple of guides here as well, so useful links. So basically covering what we've looked at in the webinar, how to record customer receipts and how to allocate them as well, and also how to post that payment on account. So if you do get any funds in from a customer, you don't know which invoice to allocate it to, or if it's a deposit perhaps, then you can also record that too. And if you haven't heard about our AI Academy, it's a 30-day practical step-by-step program designed to help you use AI confidently in everyday work. Each day takes around 10 to 15 minutes and it focuses on one simple, useful action, helping you build skills gradually without feeling overwhelmed. The course is organised into 5 sections, so it covers things like foundations and safety, marketing, admin, time saving, customer conversations, and finally using insights to make better decisions. But you can move through the course in a way that works for you each day. So each day stands on its own. You can dip in, you can revisit topics, or you can just follow the full journey from start to end. But by the end of the 30 days, you'll have a practical understanding of how to use AI to support your work, along with simple habits just to save you time. It improves consistency and just make clearer decisions. But I've included a link on the slide for you there. So if you want to get a bit more information on that, you just download those slides. You can click on that link and it'll be on there. I'm also going to pop the link on the follow-up email as well. But that does bring us to the end of today's session. So I hope that you found that useful. And it may be that some of the content you're already familiar with, but hopefully it helps just reinforce your knowledge and gives you a few useful tips on the way. Well, as I say, that recording will be with you in around about an hour's time when leaving this session. So you'll get a survey as well. I would love it if you could fill that in. Just if you have any time there, it takes a couple of moments to fill it in. Really helps us out. And don't forget, if there's anything else that you'd like to see a webinar on, perhaps just pop it in there too. But for now, I just want to say thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of your day there. Say questions just coming just at the end there from Nikki. I think Abby's answering it as well, but just if you use the demonstration data, can this be reset easily back to the original data? So yes, it can be on there. So as I say, it's completely separate to your live set of data there. So you're not going to break anything in there. You can go in there, you can have a practice, come out, and then have a look at it in your live data there as well. You've also got the option for, and let me pop back into the program just while Abby's popping an answer on there too for you. But you've also got the option of, if we go to File and Open, you've got practice data too. So if I just open that to show you, practice data is slightly different from demonstration data. So demonstration data is a set of preset data. Your practice data, you can either use a completely blank company, so you'll have nothing in there, which is actually quite handy if you want to see something from start to finish and not have anything getting in the way like other customers, other transactions. You can set up one customer and follow a transaction through from start to finish just to see how that looks. Or from, I think it's version 30, you can restore a backup of your company data in. So if you've got a backup of your company data, you can restore a copy of your data in there. So it means you're following a process through with your own data, and it just means you can see what it looks like that way as well. And as I say, it's completely separate to your live data too. But as Abby says there, when you exit the practice data, it doesn't save anything. When you go back in, you get the option to go back into your practice data where you left off, or you can reset it again. So you've got those options. You've got demo data and you've got practice data there. Both are very good just for sort of trying out new processes, especially things like VAT returns and things. If you're not too sure how things are going to look, you can process them in there completely separate. It's not going to do anything to your live data at all. But other than that, I think that was the only question that's come in there. So I hope that's answered that for you, Nikki. But other than that, I just want to say thank you again for attending, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day there. Thank you very much.